I have a Samsung model PN59D7000, which is turning on and off endlessly. The TV turns on, shows the Samsung logo, then the HDMI 2 at the top left, and then shuts off. This will keep happening until I unplug the TV. So let's open it up and find out why. The TV is turning on. We have our HDMI 2 pop up, and it just shut off. It just turned back on, and so on and so forth. When that happens, 99% of the time, the NAND chip located right here is the fault. And one thing we can do to confirm that fault is by freezing it. So I'm gonna be using a upside down can of compressed air, and I'm gonna freeze it. Just a little bit like that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the screen. So it just turned on. We have our HDMI 2, hey, and now it's saying not available. Oh, it's because I'm pressing buttons. I can press the menu, we have menus, and it's no longer cycling. So that confirms the NAND is the failure. So let's go ahead and replace it. I've just installed our main board with a socket, and I've just programmed our NAND chip that we're gonna be using for the repair. So I'm gonna be installing it in here just to test it and confirm the NAND we have is good and working. Now we'll plug the TV back in, take a look. And we have our logo. We have our HDMI. Oh, and it's at HDMI 1. So it's actually different than the HDMI 2 we were stuck on before because it's a different NAND. And I'm still touching buttons here. All right, and we're not getting the cycling anymore. So we know it's a good NAND. Let's go ahead and install it. To desolder the NAND, I'm gonna start with adding flux on the pins. And then I'm gonna flood one side with a lot of solder. Just like that. So right now, every single pin here has solder on it, a lot of it. And with my little tweezers here, I'm gonna actually try to lift the chip as I go back and forth and desolder every pin, or at least make the solder molten on every pin more or less at the same time. There we go. So now that whole side lifted and is loose off the board. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So first flood it with new solder and gently remove the chip. There we go. So that's our defective chip. We'll go ahead and toss it out. And now I'm going to remove all of the old solder with my desolder wick. Now we'll do a quick little clean with a Q-tip and alcohol. And this is isopropyl 99.99% alcohol. And now we'll go ahead and place our new chip. So the way I know what orientation to use is I have a little arrow here pointing at pin 1, and on the NAND I have a little dot on the corner where pin 1 is located. So I know that this is going to be my orientation. I'm going to start by adding just a little solder to pin 1. And my chip is not lined up perfectly, so I'm going to right now adjust it. There we go. I just slid it down ever so slightly. And now I'm going to lock in the other side. And same thing, I'm not super happy with the alignment, so I'm going to slide it down ever so slightly again. Okay, and I think that is good enough. Now I'm going to add some more flux to all of our pins. And now we can start soldering the rest. And I'm not doing a super good job right now. I'm just worried about getting some solder on all the pins first. We'll come back and clean it all up after in a second. Okay, so I just zoomed in a little bit more so it's a little easier for you guys to see. I'm gonna add a little bit more flux, or a lot. And now we're gonna just clean it up a little bit. And I'm using a very large iron tip right now. You could probably get away with a smaller one that could actually make it a little easier for you. So that side is good. Same thing on the other side, a little bit more flux, or a lot, again. And so this last blob of solder is giving me a little bit of a hard time. So I'm gonna use the desolder wick to remove it. Now it's very quick, very gentle, and I didn't remove 100% of the solder, because otherwise I'd be in the situation where I need to add more, and then a new blob could create. Final cleanup. I'm gonna try to get most of it with the Q-tip first, and then we'll finish the cleaning with the toothbrush. And for our final test, we're gonna be using our dental tool to rake the pins and make sure they are soldered in correctly. So if any of them were not soldered in correctly, we would see them move. Again, first side was good. Let's check our second side. And also good. So we're ready to put the main board back in the TV and see if it works. Let's plug it in and see what we get. We have our Samsung logo. This time I'm not pushing any buttons. And we're back to HDMI 2. Check signal cable. Let's see, menu. And we have picture, the TV is no longer cycling. If you aren't sure how to diagnose your TV, we'll have a diagnostic video that you should check out next over here. If you like the content, if you found it helpful or useful, leave us a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.